Hey there, and welcome back to Not Another Mom Podcast. This is a space where we have real talk for modern moms. This podcast is a candid and honest discussion of all the joys and challenges of modern motherhood with a focus on providing real world solutions and support for moms. I am your host, and I'm also joined by my daughter, Sachem. Say hi.
Hi.
Yes, we are back and we are giving visuals. We're serving visuals with
this is our first time.
Hot audio. Yes, it's our first time and I expect it to be a hot mess.
Well, it's for the visual learners, the visual hearers. Here you go.
Exactly. We're bringing it to you. We're testing new technology, and so I should be an expert by the end of this broadcast.
That's all you can do. That's all you can hope for.
That's all I can do. It's just excellence, Black excellence. And speaking
Absolutely.
of Black excellence,
Black woman in tech.
Who you, Black lady tech? Look, just drop everything. But speaking of Black excellence, you know what we have to talk about.
Absolutely, without a doubt, the Alabama Riverboat Uprising.
I think it's interesting how all Black people have, everyone has a different name for it, but we all know what it's called. I've heard the Montgomery Brawl, the Riverboat Brawl. I've heard the Montgomery Mollywap, which I feel it was fitting because I think it was more of a mollywap than a brawl.
It was insanity, but it was the best type of insanity that I needed in my life. It was a fully racially charged event that needed to happen in every way possible. I don't understand, because I watched the beginning clip, and there's a lot of talking in the beginning. In that beginning where he's just explaining, you see him pointing numerous ways, he's over communicating,
right.
Not he's just doing his job pointing. And he explained it to each and every person of the party what needed to happen, and they did not move their boat. And that moment that boy decided to attack him, I was like, there's no way in hell. They all did it, and one of the women stomped on him, and I was like, did you see that part?
No, I didn't.
There was.
Okay.
Because that's why the girls got what they got like that, because they jumped in. They was on the black man too.
Yeah.
There was one of them in a purple shirt that while all the men had him. I was like, somebody has to get
There was
her.
a woman, one of the white women came over and kind of reached around, and I thought she was trying to pull her person away, but she got some digs in too. I saw this on the way out. So maybe she was scratching or pulling and then trying to separate the faces, because I did see her hands on one of her guys, but as she was pulled out, she was doing this. And when the guy that was running from up top came down, he pushed her out the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I saw that. He saw something to be pushing people out the way, and she got to push just like everybody else. So how many angles do you think that you experienced? Because I'll tell you how many I experienced.
I feel like I've experienced every angle possible. To be honest, I think I've seen every perspective. The commentators were great.
Yes.
Great journalists. They need to be picked up by a news agency immediately. I mean, great journalism and commentary. That almost did it for me. That was enough entertainment for me.
I think that there was a lot of talent that day. There was a lot of talented people that I think we came together and we gave show. We gave presence and we gave heart. And
passion.
It just goes to show how unified we truly are in times of distress. And I don't know if you've seen the slow-mo of when the guard threw his security, that his hat, but his hat went to heaven, I think. I don't think it ever came down.
I don't know what compelled that man to do that extravagant hat toss. It was the best thing I ever seen, because it was hats off at that point. He did it slow-mo when he did it, and the guy even tried to sucker punch him when he threw the hat. So I was like,
he was like, wait. He was like, the power of our ancestors cloaks me into a cocoon.
I don't know if he expected the white man to look at the hat too, or something.
It kind of felt like it was magic. It was like, you don't want this ass whooping. But
and did not.
Yeah.
Because
I
they definitely got it.
they you know when black people say I'm gonna beat your ass,
It was
that's
that.
what they're
I
talking
knew.
about. That when you,
Yeah.
if ever you grew up in a house that had corporal punishment, which I did, and you got that I'm gonna beat your ass, this is the kind of beat down that they were talking about. And it wasn't the one that you got.
The
Most of the time you didn't get that one, but you knew that there was a beating that you never wanted. This is
yeah.
that beating.
It was that. It was that. Because black people, I feel one is you see the men who were skipping. They had their shirts off
Yeah,
and they were skipping
yeah,
to him and
yeah.
they put their pants on.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, it's over. And they got in formation. They like flanked one
Yes,
another.
yes. It wasn't an. I've seen some of the memes where they were like, "This is like the Black Avengers," where they were all kind of
And
like at a stance. I think that I don't even.
I see it.
I feel like nobody knew each other that day. I really feel like
I
none of
don't think
those
so.
people that were doing most of that were kin or friendly, and you had all different types of black people. Let it be known we're not a monolith. We saw educated, we saw round the way, we saw urban, we saw street, we saw church folks, we saw
A
uncles and
very
aunties,
yeah. The
grandpas.
what
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I like, there's a woman who, and you see her, she threw the other white lady in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like, she had, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw her TikTok, like her after the fight,
Oh, you
like
did?
conversation. Yeah, I sent it to you. But
Let me look at it right now.
I sent it to you. She
Where
has like an
on
after
TikTok?
the, yes, she was on TikTok talking about it. And she said the riverboat person had like no regard for all of the black people who got into a fight or whatever. And she lost her job. So she was fired, and she was like, "I don't care, you're not." And I think the guy's name is Donna Dane, but the way she says it, she's like, "Y'all, you guys aren't gonna put hands because they know each other."
Uh-huh.
I think like he raised her son or something like that, but they really really know each other.
Okay.
So she was like, "You're not gonna put hands on him in front of me." And she's like, "I don't care about a job. Like God has me where He wants me to be, like or something like that." It's the craziest like
Oh.
after fight thing you've ever heard, but it's like it's passionate and it has God involved and it's like you're not gonna hurt my people. Like it's really good the way she says it. It's pretty nice.
I just hope that first let me just say I just hope that all these people are safe because you guys are still in the South. And the South is very
Mm-hmm.
racist. And that is why these people were so bold because these are the kinds of people that are able to do what they want to do. And they dare a black person to tell them something different. They dare you in that whole boat that's waiting to dock to tell them something different. And these types of emboldened white people are the people that really made America an ugly place. They are the ones who treated us like chattel. They're the ones who pulled up and bought us like products. They're the ones who tortured and killed, separated, sodomized, dot, 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 black people because they could. And none of these people, I don't, most of them look youthful. Most of them are probably like 20s to 40s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like parents with their grown kids.
Yeah.
It looked like that, you
Yeah.
know, like it was kind of like a middle age thing happening and maybe some like 20 somethings, you
Mm-hmm.
know, their kids. And so these people didn't grow up in civil rights times.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the older guys did, you know, the ones that the gray haired ones, but you can't even blame it on that. This is a prevalent attitude, and this is what I think. Honestly, we are so oppressed, and we even now to this day, and we suffer so many microaggressions that just like the movies, when you see that person at the check stand and somebody's rude to them, and you see that person grab their head and hit the cash register, and then they snap out of it, and they're like, you know, being nice to the person, even though the person's mean to them. It's like you have these flights of fancy where it's like, I'm going to bash your face in, but I can't because I'll go to jail or I will get arrested. So you just imagine this. So I feel like a lot of people don't have the opportunity to express their displeasure for always having to stay in control when some people just don't give a fuck, right? And I think that the collective breath we took as black people was Oh, I'm so glad they got to get that out. I'm so glad that somebody
Yeah,
decided to take the L. Because if you hit somebody, you're going to go to jail. Okay, so you are losing in a sense, but you won for so many people that are not in the position to go and haul off and hit somebody because it feels good.
yeah. And another thing, the folding chair guy, love him. So I hope his bill was paid. But um, a lot of people said that was overkill when he did it, and I don't believe so. I think it needed to happen. I think it was very fitting for the environment, especially. I understand the woman sitting down, conflicted views. Unfortunately,
That one,
I'm for it because birds of a feather flock together, and you was with some thugs. you were you were involved in some criminal activity, so there you go.
I claim temporary insanity. Here you are in the Black South, a man of his age, having seen things in your life, having gone
Yeah,
through
he
so
was
many
probably
things,
traumatized.
where I absolutely feel like that man had PTSD and
Yeah, probably.
PTSD and the post slavery uh, syndrome that they have. That's PSST, something like that. We have a post slavery trauma that we all have also. So you
Hmm.
got two of those. Here you are in the throes of fighting,
The
right?
man.
The man. We're not talking about all white people. We're talking about these very racist, this racially charged moment. These people that are being very ugly, unfair, et cetera, et cetera.
You also have to imagine how it would feel to see someone get, because they're on the boat and they're watching him get jumped, and they're like,
Yeah.
nobody can help him. There's one boy who swam over, but I know when I saw the boat dock, the way those people rushed to him,
Mm-hmm.
like they were so concerned because they were from a distance, they were watching him get jumped.
And
So I can
yeah.
imagine when it docked, it was over with.
And you see an older Black man who clearly is trying to do his job. He's pointing, he's talking, he's like, no, I've been told to do this. It's not my pier. It's not my boat. None of this has anything to do with me. And you can see him trying to reason with him. And then when they're like, this is what we're going to do to you, what do you expect him to do? There's nobody there to help him. And he's still a man at the end of the day. So he had to defend himself and he did the best he could. But you could totally tell that this is somebody's pappy. This is somebody's grandpa. And I'm just happy to see that people were willing to help over just record and talk mess.
Look at that. I think the white people, they thought he was the perfect victim. He's black, so and they're in Alabama.
An
They thought
older
there would be
guy.
no repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
They thought no one would come to his
They
aid, and
thought
they
no
felt
one would
emboldened
care.
to do it.
Yes, they did.
Yes,
They did.
and that's the part that didn't work out for them. Everybody cared, and he wasn't the perfect victim. It was the
Mm-mm.
wrong person to mess with.
He
So
absolutely was. I mean, if it was somebody else, I don't think that you would have had that kind of support. But when you see this Black man standing up to these people, clearly trying to do his job, and you're gonna mess with a working class person because you want to park your boat somewhere. Like, I mean, it's clear that they were drinking. They were all red in the face and sloppy. But it's just like you
disheveled.
thought that you and your agenda was more important than anything else that needed to happen.
That's the white privilege. That's how they operate. That's
Yeah.
how they operate on the biggest scale that you can see. That's a white woman in Target. That's a Karen just manifested in like that. Whatever white men do, whatever a white man is or whatever, that was it. It
And
was a big old Karen moment.
so we're in our bubble, right? Because Facebook and Instagram knows we're Black, and so they serve all Black people the same content, believe it or not. And so I'm wondering if any of my white friends are getting this on their feed, and they are. And so I was like, I wonder what that response was. How uncomfortable is this for our white friends, our white counterparts, to see this and know that we're like, hey, one for the team. Like, does it feel like so racial that you guys don't want to comment? Are you now afraid? Are we going to hear about this at work? You know what I'm saying? Or anything
I've
like that.
seen.
But this is what I saw. This is how they did it. This white guy was like, I saw this, I thoroughly enjoyed it. These wasted rednecks were doing this and that. And I was like,
Mhm.
it's like
But a redneck is almost like a slur. Like it's almost like
yeah.
a pale nigga or something.
They were like, so it was
They
like,
took that as a different thing.
exactly. I was like, they've segmented themselves. They were like,
Yeah.
we're not the same as those people. Those are rednecks. And I was thinking like, I didn't even I didn't even know y'all looked at each other like that. But I saw a lot of like white folks totally standing up for the black guy, totally here for the beatdown and saying those rednecks were in the wrong. And I was just like, well, I'll be. Well, I'll be the rednecks.
That's how they do the segmentation.
Yeah, it's like you got is there this. I mean, really, because in my mind, I was like, everybody's fighting. You don't know who's who. You know, like they have a bit. Somebody has a business. Somebody has a nice boat. You know, they probably have a lot of money. But I thought redneck was like a. I know it's a racial slur or a derogatory term, but I thought it had more to do with your socioeconomic status and not a type of person that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we can say rednecks. Most rednecks are racist. No? Yes. Maybe we should call a white person in just to.
I don't know anyone to call.
Actually, I
have no one to call. You want to bring in a caller?
Caller,
a white person.
I didn't prepare for that, so not right now. It would be too hard to explain. They'd be like, "Wait a minute. So, what you want me to do? What? You want me to explain why? What's this for?" Yeah. So, like the segmentation for me, I was like, it's crazy how like there's still like this groups within groups within groups within groups. You know what I mean? And that's the privilege too. Mm-hmm. Even though they're on our side as well as other people of color, like everybody's getting a kick out of it. I saw some Asian folks talking about it, and that was hilarious. But you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, what y'all do?
It's a lot of people talking.
Y'all have fun with this too?
Because they have their own, I mean, they get the microaggressions too. They have their own history. But I've seen some white people dare to say their piece. Because a lot of them, they are very quiet. But I know for a lot of them that the woman sitting down with the chair, I know for a lot of them, that made them mad. Like, I know, like, I've seen TikToks of white men just red in the face, saying that man assaulted her, all this stuff. And I've seen the backlash that they get actually from saying that too.
So the woman that got knocked down, she's a part of the fight from the angle where they're out on the ramp and you can see this way. She got in the fight and she hit on the Aquaman, and she also was in somebody's space and doing some scratches and some punches too.
She was around.
Yeah, so she was.
That's why I said birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, so that wasn't that. If you start right there, it seems like she was there with her man. She got caught up in the melee. They beat her up because they could. She was beating butt up and down the ramp.
She was.
And she was jumping in the grown folks' business and beating men. And I'm thinking at this point, when you're scratching, tussling, sucker punching, you can't sit here and say, but I'm a lady, you know, when you fall on your butt.
Like that, I love how the black women knew went to get the women. Like, they was like, we're equal match, so we about to get it. Like, they knew who to get. But, like, it was that bald lady. She went straight to the woman.
The bald and the girl with the bun. And that was, honestly, I feel like that was where, but that's diplomacy in action. Because
equal rights.
I didn't see the black men. There was a couple black men that kind of like, was handsy with the girls because
the white women were all up on because white women do that. Yes.
But the black women went specifically for the women. They kept it fair. Yeah. They kept it fair. And they didn't even get involved with the brawls with the men on men. They came straight for the women. And I was like, there's fairness in this. You know, like if they gonna fight, we should fight too. And even if we're not gonna fight, you're gonna stay right there. Either I'm gonna push you in the water, or you're gonna sit down. Because remember when the girl was sitting down, they was all like, "I wish you would. I wish."
Yeah.
Say,
on the red lady.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of done with her. They were done with her when he came out with a finisher. Because I remember that she was down on the floor and it was the two black women on top, and they was like walking away.
They were, yeah. I mean, honestly, she as long as she stayed there, because there was a guy who was a part of the early fight, was on the ground too, and he stayed there, and they didn't touch him. So I think it's like, look, as long as you don't put your hands on nobody, you'll be fine. But the problem that everyone was having is that they started all the fights. Yeah. So at fight round 12, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start this one when you've already started the first 11. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to know one thing else I wanted to call out? The situation was chaotic, but the police response was so calm.
It
And
was.
everyone that witnessed it, that was near a police officer and recording, felt comfortable to tell the police officer what happened. The police officers engaged, asked questions, trusted what they were saying. And like when the woman was saying, those two need to be, those need to be locked up too. The police officer eventually listened and walked over there. There was no need to tase anybody, even though they pulled out tasers. There was no need to fight with anyone, scare anybody, get on bullhorns, shoot anybody. And that's because you had a black police presence. They didn't even seem to be that bothered. You know what I mean? They were just like, we got something to
They
do here.
weren't. They were kind of letting it rock
Yeah,
for a little bit
but even
into that one.
but the most comfortable, I've never seen somebody get arrested with so much care. Like the guy with the chair, bang, 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 here, here. It was almost like he said, okay, all right, here, take it. I'm done. You know, if it had been like
Yeah.
white officers, like let's just say LAPD,
Oh yeah.
there would have been,
It's
it would have
over with.
been,
Someone's
it would
dying.
have been the Riverboat massacre.
Someone's dying. If it was LAPD, someone's dead. Sorry.
And
Everyone's in cuffs who's black.
And I think it really does come from deep down, some white people are afraid of black people. And they elevate the energy to the point of like this hysteria where they're so afraid that they're tense, they don't know how to act, and you don't trust that because how can you? If you're afraid of me, I don't trust you. You don't trust me. Something bad's going to happen. And when they bring that energy, it always ends badly. And the police presence that was there, they obviously felt comfortable. They knew what it was without even being told that. And they handled everything accordingly. There was like no, you know what I mean? Once the police were there, it was done.
Okay.
All these black police officers, people walking around, fights are happening and stuff like that. They didn't have to shoot anybody. That's just a sign that, you know what, even when things are going crazy, you don't have to resort to violence. Especially when everybody's already beating each other up. Can I say one more other thing?
Okay.
Had this happened about 30 years ago, everybody in that fight would have looked like a superhero. So I think black people need to stop eating processed foods and we need to start training. Because people were I saw a lot of flab, a lot of out of shape people. And I feel like if we're gonna really train if we're gonna train for these brawls, that we need to start getting it together. There was
I don't know about any of this. I don't co-sign this.
I'm serious. It was
a
lot of people were out of shape.
Message.
Did you not see that everybody was out of shape?
Somebody's body is not my personal
our
business.
Eating habits have definitely changed because when my dad and them were younger, everybody was fit, super fit. And I just feel like if this had happened years ago, everybody would have been looking like, blaxploitation, like athlete. And I was just like, those fights were in slow motion. Largely because everybody is just eating too much.
Okay.
I would have been like that too. I'm not skinny. I am overweight too, so I can say that. Like Lizzo up in here. I'm not fat shaming.
Rough. I haven't even fully got into that. I need to look into it, but the things that I've seen about it are so crazy to me. I'm purposely not reading about it because I'm like, I truly don't want to know this.
I'm just confused about whether it's true or not because it seems like night and day. It seems a lot like night and day from what we see and what we've experienced of her. And even with what they've said prior to filing this complaint, I'm not saying that they're wrong because we all know celebrities and their personas are all presentation. But my hope is that it's not real. For the sake of,
I think,
Lizzo being a positive role model.
I kind of have to see what's true or not because I think what had me turned off from it, I watched a video of someone who said Lizzo stole her boyfriend or something. So did you see that?
I saw that, yeah.
That's what had me turned off.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this?
And then it showed pictures of him.
Like, and then she said she was boyfriends to him, his boyfriend for 10 years,
Yeah.
and they were just boy. I was like, what is going on? None of this makes sense. It's just like people coming out the woodwork with perspectives or stories. I don't even know what to make of that story. Like, what are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to think?
Well, it's not Lizzo's fault that he left his girlfriend. And Lizzo could have decided she didn't like her because she liked the boy. And people do stuff like this all the time. He didn't have to leave his girlfriend. And Lizzo could have decided, I like this one. I'm going to take this one with me. This happens whether you're a superstar or not. Is she a bad person because of that? I don't know. But I mean, I know how it feels to date somebody in the limelight, and everybody has one version of that. And if you say anything, you look like the hater. So I felt weird for that girl.
It was weird that her perspective had to come out when she was under fire. That was my thing. Like,
it was purposeful because she said, if I would have said this back in the day, nobody would have cared because Lizzo is that person. She's that girl. So you say it when the chips are down because you're in your feelings and you're like, now
another assassination.
Through. Yeah.
Assassination of her character while she's already going through it.
Well, because she didn't agree with the world. She was like, I don't see the value in her. I have a personal story. She's not a nice person. And her presence in my life, left a bad residue. And it's true. Like she gets to have negative feelings about Lizzo on account of there being a boyfriend issue. And that's totally fine. It doesn't take away from Lizzo's appeal or even her being a good person. I don't think so.
It has nothing to do with anything. That part, it was so irrelevant to me. I was like, what? I don't like her music. I don't necessarily care for her. I like the image and what she stands for. She's fat positive, from my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
She's a plus size woman. So I was like, okay, that's all cool. And she's dark skinned. I was like, yeah, this is great. All of this works for me.
Yeah.
The music, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not working for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you as a person, what you bring to the table, cool. Like what you stand for. So I hope it's not true.
Well, as a parent, I like the idea of what she's talking about. I haven't listened intently to know what she's saying. I don't like that I've seen her behind more times than I've seen it
I think she's done that. I don't think she's doing that anymore. I feel like I've seen less of her behind.
But of all the times I've seen her behind. And I don't even know you like that. So if you were asking me, can I get a Lizzo record back in the day? I would politely say no. Because I know there's something, because there's something in there that has something to do with that thong she keeps showing everybody. That's what I'm thinking, because that's what you're giving me. And I'm not going to go in and I'm not going to follow you on Instagram to see if that's true or not.
Because in hindsight, let's say back in the day, my role models, they consisted of no black women, no plus size women. But you were saying that you still wouldn't let me listen to someone who actually is probably someone I should look up to. I'm plus size. I'm a black woman. And I've been plus size. You wouldn't have let me get into Lizzo.
I would not have, because I would have assumed that there's something in the music that makes people want to go and wear their butt out. Their whole butt out. To the movies, to the basketball games. And I would not have listened to the music to check, but I'd have been like, there's something in there that's got everybody wearing these thongs to the basketball game. And I don't want you to wear the thong to the basketball game. So I'd have been like, no.
So I'd probably be playing in the basketball game, if anything. So
well, at least I know that they
wrong in the basketball game.
At least I know that they wouldn't let you wear it on the court.
There we go.
Yeah.
That one figured itself out.
But I feel bad for her, because when women accuse you of things, we like to think it's some truth in there. You know what I mean? Like, in the details of the sexual assault allegations.
So I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't read it.
Because I'm like,
it was a banana?
Who would make up? Somebody had a banana in a special place, and she said, go ahead and take a bite. And I was just like, Why are we this close in the
That's the
first
thing.
place?
So if it's true, see, that's the thing though. I know when you get to a spot where it's like you have a lot of money, things get weird,
Hmm.
you know? So if it got that weird and you was on some power game stuff and that's not unbelievable, but I
No.
still need some like a court case or a videotape or something.
So
Well, I
sometimes,
don't know.
I
I think
mean,
you should believe.
I've been to parties where stupid stuff could happen. Have I ever seen a banana in there? No, but I've seen the beginnings of silly stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I'm not staying long enough for you to be like, you know what you should do? What, girl? I was thinking you could. No, because I'm horrified by seeing this up close. There are just some things I just don't want to see. And if I
Hmm.
wanted to see it, I could show myself. I don't need to see it displayed for myself. You know what I mean? But the fact that you sat here and was like, I would have been on my way out the door, girl, you crazy. And you ain't gonna
Yeah.
make me do nothing. And my thing is, what kind of person are you if you're telling me to do that? Because there was a part of me that was like, is she wild? Like, is she real wild like this? But my
Hmm.
thing is like, what is the energy with on the girls? The girls, it's not a girls trip, but it's an all girls kind of band in a way. So what's the energy? Like the energy must be real spicy. You
Hmm.
know how on Real Housewives when they're going out of town and somebody gets to talking slick and everybody gets to kind of catches that wave and you're like, are y'all freaky? Like, what is this?
Hmm.
I feel like I could see somebody leading some girls that way, and it
Hmm.
feel like they're like Lizzo's the one who gets the party started, and she's kind of nasty,
Oh,
and we follow her until we feel uncomfortable. Like that's kind of like what I gathered. I'm not. Don't quote
yeah.
me. I'm not representing her in this case.
Made a strong case.
I
I
turned
don't
it
know.
down. I turned it down. No, but she's it's a lot. It's a lot of things against her right now, and I hope it's not true because I don't want anybody to endure that. But if those ladies were really truly traumatized, and they deserve some grace.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Mm, mm, mm. Whew. Speaking of grace, Megan the Stallion.
The day has come. I love it. I never in a million years thought it would be 10 years. Like, that's crazy to me. And not like a parole thing, Like, that's real jail time, like criminal.
Yeah,
Like, you're done.
yeah.
I never thought it. And the people who say, like, oh, like, you don't think that's too much, 10 years? Like, no. It is basically attempted murder. It's literally like it's that serious.
Hmm.
But the way he paraded around, the way he was like he's been free all this time and been able to do like these like character assassinations and get all these rappers against her and just
Yeah.
continuously like he's been doing all this crazy stuff. It's insane.
Hmm.
And now he's like going to jail for 10 years. Like I love it. I never thought it'd be that much, but I love it.
I will tell you when this story first came out, I made a video about it, and I've since taken it off my YouTube because so many men came in and lit up that video, and they were
Mhm.
like, "She's a liar. It didn't happen." Like they were
Mhm.
all convinced that she had made this up. And so Megan
Mhm.
said initially that she stepped on glass. And if you go back and look at the video, when the police pulled them over, she gets out the car and she's walking on the ground. And with every step, you can see blood that she's leaving. And she can barely walk. And there's a certain point where she's laying down off to the side, and you can tell that she's in pain. But she says that she told them that she stepped in glass because she said that she was afraid of what was going on at the time with George Floyd because it had just happened. And so she said that she wanted to downplay the incident so that she could just get out of there and go to the hospital. And that he immediately asked both her and her ex homegirl not to say anything and that he was going to pay them $1 million. So a few days later, she decides to tell the truth, and in a major way he flipped it on her, and it worked. We it really and she was so popular at the time. I was surprised that he was able to turn so many people against her. Almost like, you know what, like if it happened, she deserved it, or two, she must have did it to herself. Like it was like crazy how everyone was brainwashed.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
And
He was
to go
free
ahead.
for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He was just free for a long time. Like it felt like jail time was not even a thing. He was
I
frolicking.
I didn't think he was going to go to jail. I honestly thought that they looked at this like, that's what y'all do, so good luck. And she's made a recovery. Obviously, she's gone on with her life, and I honestly didn't even remember it until I saw it in the paper today. But when I think about when they rehash what happened, and it's still unclear to me, but it sounds like he was messing around with both the friends, and when the girlfriend found out that both Tori and Megan were kind of talking, that the friend that they got upset, they got into an argument, and Megan asked to get out of the car, and that he shot her at her feet and said, "Dance, bitch." So can you
Uh-huh.
imagine in a car with a guy and your homegirl, and you now find out that he's dating both of you guys? Doesn't matter who he's dating first, but you guys didn't even know this, and this is how it's revealed to you. You guys are arguing. You asked to get out the car because there's feelings involved here. There's betrayal on both sides. She's probably more hurt by her girlfriend um, involvement than his or whatever. And then he just pulls a dance beat and shoots your feet. He,
Devious.
like you said, he could have shot her. He could have just said, "Forget you," and took her life. Like, who does that? Who
Devious.
who shoots at a person's
Devious.
feet anyway? A woman who is upset and gets out the car. And I don't know if you noticed it, but I don't know if it was a swim party, but she barely had any clothes on. They blur it out
Mm-hmm.
if you look at the video. But the girlfriend has on the tiniest little shorts that look like bikini, like a old school bikini bottoms, like pinup type.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not wearing any clothes. Like
Mm-hmm.
Megan barely looked like she have any clothes on. So you're out there with no purse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's traumatizing.
I just don't even understand what was going on in his mind. I just really think he's a danger to
I
society.
agree.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think the justice system did what they had to do, and it's even more. They, I mean, the statement with what they did. You know,
Hmm.
and I think he tried to say like, oh, I think his assassination on her character was basically parallel to her life is kind of meaningless,
Yes.
and I think the sentencing kind of said no, um, she's gonna get justice. So it
I
was definitely a black women's lives matter type thing.
I like the way you look at that because I also felt like even though she was shot at, traumatized, no one cared. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
why are you trying to mess this man's life up? Like
Mm-hmm.
they make you all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like just deal with it kind of thing. Like we can replace you kind of a thing. You know, like you ain't nobody.
Mm-hmm.
The energy
Mm-hmm.
was really, really dark. And I took that video down because I was just tired of arguing with people. I was like, I'm on the wrong side of this algorithm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I just ignored it
Yeah,
after
I
that.
mean it's women as well. There are black women who say you guys don't think 10 years is too much, or you don't think she did it to her. It's insanity. Like it's insanity. It's a deadly weapon. It's a literal
She
attempt
could
on
have
her life,
lost her
her career.
toes. She could have lost the ability to walk. She could have been paralyzed. And she could have
Yeah.
died. And 10 years is not enough. You shoot me in the foot for 10 years. Not only you better stay away from me, is all I'm saying. You better
Hmm.
stay away from
And
me.
I'm actually surprised she didn't even try to get. I would have done a civil suit on top of the criminal to just get reparations for
Restitution.
money. Just
Yeah.
yeah, just take you for what you're worth. At that point, 10 years in jail. Oh, give me $4 or $5 million as well.
She needs
But
to
she
sue
didn't
him
even do
for
that part.
she needs to sue him for damaging her reputation. And the mental anguish and all that came with that, because I can't imagine it was an easy time for her to go through that because she was so popular and it seemed like everyone turned on her really fast. And it was like, wow, like you see how quickly people can become famous and then how people will just turn their backs on that artist,
Mm-hmm.
especially if a man has decided he's turned his back on her. Oh, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no. She ain't all that anyway. You get that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like, I feel like that was the beginning of the podcast era, the Black Man podcast.
Yeah, the podcast bros.
Yeah.
But it's not even her proximity to, like, not even that, her sexual freedom had a lot to do with it as well. It was like, okay, that's what you bring to the table. Yeah, you deserve that, and it was completely wrong. Like, her, whatever she wears, whatever she raps, she doesn't deserve to get shot in the foot. Like, it just absolutely truly doesn't matter. But to a lot of men, it did.
I think for a lot of men, it was like she's sexually free. She's flaunting it. She's doing what she wants to do. She can't be tamed. She can't be caught. And I think anytime a woman is that independent, for some men, they get very angry. And so by her being shot in the foot and getting the dance beat was like, this is really the energy that you get. Like, you think that you're doing something, but you're really reduced to this. And did he really deserve 10 years for bringing you down to size?
Mm-hmm.
You must think that you're much better than that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't even want to delve into with that, but I just really felt like it was an emergence of the Black incels.
Yeah, it was the worst of us. Like, the worst of us who, I don't understand. It was like people coming out of crawl spaces that had like this much, this much brain cells and like
Mm-hmm.
a kindergarten education.
And a
Like,
microphone.
haven't picked up a book. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't picked up a book in years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
came out here with an opinion.
From the depths of your mother's basement.
Right. Just take an African American class at a community college, and you would probably just sound a little bit more better.
Wow.
Take a sociology class, a genders class, anything. Get an associate's degree. Maybe I'll listen to you.
Wow. That's harsh.
You can say that when you have a bachelor's.
Well, when you're overeducated.
When you're in a master's program.
In your master's program, you got these little initials that you can put behind your name. You start to philosophize
a little bit
about life.
Educational advocate.
How was mothering this week? Do you need a refill?
I don't even have any. I'm Friday. I'm eating wine. That's my goal to get through the week at this point.
Wine on the weekends.
Zion cries every time we pass by the gas station because occasionally I get him donuts, right? So it's like our thing. We walk to the bus stop, I get him donuts.
Mm-hmm.
But he apparently thinks that every day he should have donuts. So as soon as we walk past, we get to a certain spot. Every time he gets to that spot, he's like, I want to go to the gas station. And I'm like, no. He full out, stiff arms, falls the fuck out, stops walking, crying. And I still have to get us to the bus stop, which is still like a 5-minute walk with a baby who's stiff arm crying to go to the grocery store and get donuts at 6:50 a.m. in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So parenthood is great. Besides that part.
Mothering this week. This week, your brother was mild, but he's learning how to operate outside of the time limit system I set up on the iPad. It lasted about a week. He was really not pushing.
He's a hacker?
No, it's not. He hasn't hacked. He's hacked me. He's hacked me. So what he
figured out your password?
So it's even more simpler than that. What he's figured out is that he'll ask me for more time on the iPad before his time runs out. So he'll pad his time. So he'll ask me for an hour before, and I'll give it to him. And then when that hour's almost over, he'll ask me again. And so he'll end up getting 2-3 extra hours by sending these requests. And I'm just like, button, monkey, button. And I'm like, how are you still watching the iPad? Because I've granted him extra time. So it's as if like it's the same thing, and just like I'm authorizing these hours pretty much at this point. So I figured it out because I was like, what's the strategy here? If you look at our text messages, it's just all these requests. Like he's just sending them in, and I'm just like, he's on, Mom, press the button, press the button. I'm like pressing the button. I'm just like,
Why even have a limit on it at this point?
well, this is what I'm saying because I haven't been conscious. I wasn't thinking about it. I was on.
Okay, get you.
I was on.
So you probably didn't realize like how long the duration of the requests were.
And he makes it seem like I'm not really paying attention. So if he gives me YouTube, Netflix, and such all at once, and I'm like, bang, 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 and then I'm like, and he's like, well, I need this one. I'm like, I already did that one. He goes, no, you didn't. So I hit that one. So he's got multiple ways of stealing extra time, and I'm confused because I have to go and look and scroll and see which ones he sent, but it doesn't show me which ones I've granted, because you can do 15 minutes or an hour or not at all or anything like that. And so he's figured out a way to get around the system, but I am going to change that for sure when school starts.
I was about to say, is the 5th grade or 4th grade?
5th.
Oh, Lord. Scary times. Scary times.
Yeah. And we had an issue with some kid, a kid at school, that same kid that he was getting in trouble with earlier this year. And that kid came around and started harassing the group and probably bored and wanting to get back into the friend group. And Isaiah and some of the other kids had something for him. And so Isaiah's contribution was he went to Reddit and he copied a roast and sent it to the boy. And 11 other children saw it. And it's all type of cussing in this roast. And honestly, if they were friends, it would be like, oh, you're so stupid, but they're not. So the boy showed his parents, and then the parents called us and tried to go off on me, and I did not take that. You ain't gonna go off on me over no bullshit. And then said that they're gonna move to Dubai because their child's heart is broken. And you're laughing, and it is funny because there's more to the story, and I'm gonna tell the story.
I know, and I need more context, but I'll get it later. But wow! So first off, how does he know about Reddit? That is so crazy.
And even when you read it, you're like, Isaiah's not saying this. Like, you can totally tell, because I shared it with Anaya, and Anaya started laughing. He was like, what in the world? He was like, he goes, this is a roast. You got this off the internet. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, if I sent this to my friend would laugh. But he goes, but if you're not cool, then, this is like fighting words. And I'm like, well, the guy was harassing him and other kids. And so I think this was his way of like, I'm taking matters in my own hands. Like, this is who you are. And the guy still wants to be friendly with the kids, even though he's really rude to the kids and he harasses the children. See, parents never want to own up on that. They don't want to own up on the fact that their kids have poor social skills, that they lie, that they are, that they're manipulative, and that they, especially in friend groups, right? This child has triangulated Isaiah and other kids, and other parents know. Like, they know. They don't even want to talk about it, but they know. And if you don't know, open up your child's iPad, okay?
It's all there. You kind of know, though. But that's the thing. I don't understand why parents are so, like, oblivious, because it gets worse when you're oblivious. Like, if you don't have, like, a self-reflection and kind of see, like, where they get these patterns from or how we can fix it, you're going to have, like, a monster when he gets older.
So Isaiah took the fall for something that kid had said, and we were like, all we need for you to do is to go into the principal's office, have your child say to the principal that he lied. And they were saying, well, our child was coerced by the system. And I was like, yeah, anyway, go run tell your vice principal, because we got problems over there. They never did it. And so I was done with these people. I was done with them, and I was like, you're not the kind of parents I want to hang out with, nor do I want my kid
Mm-hmm.
around. And when Isaiah decided to not be cool with anymore, I was done. But I can be very fair, and I've been a parent for a long time, so I can be like, well, I can see the wrong in what Isaiah
Uh-huh.
did, and I can see how that may have hurt your child. But for this one, I let it ride, and I said,
Yeah.
I said, why you checking iPads? I said, go and check your son's history and see all the things that he said to the children. He's been harassing the children all summer. So someone had to do something about it. And the father kept talking to me, and I said, neither one of you know how to stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Isaiah has blocked your child. Have your child block Isaiah. And then he says, well, you block me and I'll block you.
Now y'all beefing now.
I don't even talk to you.
Yeah.
I said, you don't see, that's your problem. Y'all don't know when to be quiet. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just where I'm at. See, like the kids having their thing is one thing. And honestly, the kids will work it out. But if you come
Mm-hmm.
over here, you start messing with me, I'll show you I'm
Yeah.
not from Sherman Oaks. And I never liked you in
Where
the
you
first
from?
place. And just because my child doesn't want to play with your child, you're going to sit here and have a hissy fit.
Yeah.
My child doesn't want to play with yours. So buzz off. Buzz
Mm-hmm.
off. My child does not owe your child anything, and your child has issues. And you
Mm-hmm.
need to be working on that child. And I saw the
Mm-hmm.
messages. I don't have to send them to you. Your child, you know your kid. You know your kid is a little off. You know that your kid needs some therapy. And my kid's a nice kid until he's not. And the
Mm-hmm.
fact that that child sent about 23 curse words to your child
Mm-hmm.
just really
That
lets
weren't
me know
his.
that he had enough. He had
I
enough.
I agree. Isaiah is very mild. He does not erupt, and he's not very combative at
Not at
all.
all.
So for him to be mad to even do that, he couldn't even do it in his own words. He couldn't even make it
He
personalized.
didn't.
He had to find a different person to say it for him.
He went and
Yeah,
found a
he
disc
didn't have the
roast.
words to do
He
it.
didn't. I said,
Yeah, he
Isaiah,
couldn't
I
because
said,
he didn't
Isaiah,
have it in him.
huh?
Because he didn't have it in
He
him.
doesn't have it in him. So he had to borrow ugly words just to let this child
Yeah.
know that I don't want to deal with you like that. And honestly, I was like, this is the first time I've ever co-signed something like this, because I wouldn't have done this with you and Anaya. But I was like, you know what? I've seen the messages, and your kid has been harassing the other children. And Isaiah really was trying to stick up for all the children. He saw himself sticking up for all the kids. The messed up thing about it is what I'll say is that he didn't think about the fallout. And what these parents did, they tried to come to me, and we had our little thing, and I blocked him. They went to Isaiah's father, and then they started talking about me. And the reason why he could talk about me is because Isaiah's father obviously talks about me to everybody. So Isaiah's father and I'm like, that you suck because you suck. Oh, we don't need to go into that. Anyway, another episode. But I'm the only one that's really truly writing it out with Isaiah. But they went to Isaiah's other friends' parents and said Isaiah did all these things. And instead of admitting that their child lied on Isaiah, they say Isaiah did the thing. Yeah. So they tried to ruin Isaiah's reputation of friendship. So I said to Isaiah, I said, see, when you have little baby monsters do stuff like this, like pit people against each other, triangulate and lie. But when they come from real big monsters, they try to ruin reputations and friendships and whatever else. These people would probably try to
Mm-hmm.
come from my job. I mean, if they could probably do some
Yeah.
bodily harm to me, they probably would, over the fact
Yeah.
that their little entitled child doesn't have his best friend anymore. And what
Yeah.
Isaiah doesn't understand is that there are times he's going to be on campus and they're going to be walking around, and you don't know what those moments in between school being out and you walking are going to be like. You just never know, because these people are so emboldened and they're so angry that he doesn't want to be friends with their kid. I've seen parents like this. It was really, really weird. It's really weird.
It sounds very crazy. I didn't know that. he went to the other parent like that.
He went to the other
So how,
parent, and Isaiah
and this
said,
is his new best friend, right?
"Is this? Yeah, they were all three of them were friends, and then they broke
Uh-huh,
away. And so here comes the other one trying to ruin the relationship. So Isaiah
uh-huh.
says, "Mom, can you call them and tell them?" So I called and I left a message, and the mother was out of the country, and she said, "I'll hit you when I come back." And I left it open to her. I said, if you want to talk about it, we can. I said, if not, it's fine. I said, I am a little worried about these people because they've decided to reach out to you and ruin my son's reputation and try to, this isn't a normal thing. This isn't normal. So if you think that I should be, maybe I should talk to the police. Like I said all that because I was like, this is crazy. And when she got back in town, she didn't call, but they hit us up and they asked if he wanted to go to the movies, and he went to the movies.
But
So they're fine. But he reached out and was like, "Mama, can you say something to them?" And that took a lot for him to say that because he thought he was going to lose his friendship. This
that's
is
insane.
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
so sad.
it is sad, and I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is affecting him traumatically. When we met with them, because I had that teacher who was one of the worst teachers I've ever had to deal with. This woman, I can't even say the words. One of the worst human beings I've ever seen in the classroom. When we had our meeting that we were supposed to have with her, she conveniently got sick, and we had the principal there. We had a bunch of people there, and I was still stuck on what they said happened at the beginning of the year. And there was a black administrator in there, and I think they brought her in there on purpose. And she said, "I know you're worried about your son's reputation." She said, "But Isaiah is someone that we get excited seeing." She goes, "We love Isaiah. Everybody loves Isaiah." She goes, "No one thinks about what that thing was and what was said. And I know that you may not think that way because of the way that, this particular teacher said stuff, blah, blah, blah." She said, "But he is not a problem to us." And I was like, y'all can clear the room. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm,
I want to connect with you because you care. And you know that I
mm-hmm.
care. And you're speaking to me like I'm a parent versus these other people who, now that I think about it, I don't know if that child's parents had went in and not only, instead of saying our son lied, they may have turned it around to protect their son because all they care about is their son's
You have
issues.
documentation, right?
Yes,
That he did lie? It is such a
I have the
crazy
text
thing to lie
messages.
about.
I
It is
have
so insane.
I have text
Because I
messages.
remember you telling me about
Yeah.
the conversation where they're together type thing or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
He was like, "I'm gonna
I
bring in
remember
an
that.
attorney. I know so many people. I know this person. I know this person. We're gonna sue that school. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that." And then the next day, crickets. I called him on Sunday. I was like, "So what's going on? What'd you say?" The next week, nothing. And then I saw him in the hallway, and he was knee mugging me. And I was like, "So the last time I saw you, you said you were gonna clear my son's name. If I was a man, I would beat your ass. It would be Montgomery Brawl. Montgomery Brawl at the school,
In the school.
right there in the
It
middle
needs
of
to
the
be.
assembly."
I'm happy this is fifth grade. What scares me though is that school has not started and we're kicking off like this.
But
I
that
hope we have.
happened like I want to say early 2-3 weeks ago. And
Oh
I did
shoot.
think we were going to carry this into the new year, but that's not the school's jurisdiction.
Yeah, I know, and that's kind of scary. I don't know. Maybe that's actually maybe it's a good thing it's on the school's jurisdiction.
It's not, because this
Yeah.
family is keeping up a beef because their child wants to be friends with my child, and my child does not want to be friends with them. It all comes down to he doesn't want to be friends with them, and some children have decided they don't want to be friends with that child either. This child has terrorized a lot of the kids in this friend group, and they've all decided that they don't want to be friends with that child anymore. And he's kind of become the whooping boy because he keeps showing up and antagonizing them. And when his parents really should realize that something's awry and not look at their son as a victim, but really just go in there and read that communication and figure out what's going on and pull him out of it, you know? Because it could be really bad for him. Your parents can't fight all your battles. But having a family come for my family because my kid doesn't want to be friends with you anymore, it's crazy. And these people are extremely entitled, and they were mad because I didn't want to become friends with them and come over and drink. And I'm like, I don't want to do that with you guys. The kids can play and do their thing, but you're not the types of people that I would want to unwind with like that in the first place because of the boundary issue. I felt like they didn't have good boundaries with me. And so that's why I was concerned about him going to their house. Because I'm like, if you do this with an adult, what will you do with a child? So, moral of the story, trust your gut.
Got it.
And if you ever need to cuss anybody out, go to Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, got it. I don't even use Reddit. I can't remember last time I was on Reddit, but now I know there are beefs there. I may personalize it a bit. That's just me. You know, I'd make it a bit personal, but sometimes it has to happen, I guess. I'm upset he didn't ask me, about a beef or a comeback. We didn't craft one together. That's what I'm upset about, honestly. I could have came up with a passive aggressive one liner.
Oh man, I was bad. Trust me, I was so embarrassed. I was like, why would you do something like this?
I can't imagine.
And I sent it to Anaya, and Anaya was laughing so hard. I was just like, that's when I started to laugh, when Anaya was like so weak, and I was just like, okay, this is childish and foolish. But
he's like 11, he's 10?
He's 10.
He's 10, yeah. He's about to be 11 though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's crazy.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
If that's the best thing he can come up with, like, I'm okay with it. Your innocence is still intact. A lot of 11-year-olds these days, especially in LA, could have ended differently.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, the advice, thoughts, and opinions that we offer tonight is just entertainment. Nothing that I'm saying here is foolproof. I am improving every day of my life ever since I became this person's mom right here. So we hope that you take what we say and what we think with a grain of salt, and always consult your gut. Your gut is who you should listen to the most. Any parting words?
Absolutely. Trust your intuition. Don't get into bras at the riverboat.
Yeah.
Or shoot people in the foot.
Exactly.
Watch your kid's iPad. Watch your kid's iPad. What's the biggest one?
The iPad.
As my son is on his iPad right here.
You should set up some controls tonight, actually. Yeah. All right, guys. Huh?
He's going to throw the iPad at me and cry.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
This is not going to work for us.
You gotta sneak it in there. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in with us. I think this was successful, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give them another one next week.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we're signing off. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Like and subscribe and leave us a note.
Yep.
Peace.